Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to be back. Whoa, my microphone is really loud. Hold on, let me turn it down. How are you all? Good to see you. We're very lucky we're doing a show. We had another freaking outage that started at like 7 a.m. this morning, and it just came back online literally like 20 minutes ago. So I've been desperately catching up on all this different work. I am going to have to look for a secondary net connection because these outages lately have been out of hand. They have been ridiculous. But there is a bunch of updates coming out of the courts. I have some that are out of courts in Victoria here where I've been reviewing a bunch of documents for about four different cases. I'll get to that in a little while. But the one I want to talk about right now is obviously everyone wants to talk about David right now. This was pretty I don't know what the word you want to call it, but I would say inevitable. Hearing that evidence in court the other day, there was no way this was not going to trial. You can't present that type of evidence and be like, the judge is like, nah, we're good. We're not going to trial. No, 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 no. They are heading to trial. And today that confirmed that they are indeed. David will stand trial on those charges. That's a foregone conclusion. When you present that type of evidence in front of a judge, they are not going to be like, yeah, let's go home and not worry about this. They want to put it in the hands of a jury. They want them to be the ones who decide. And, that's the basis of our legal systems, and they want that to happen because that way, if there is a decision, if there's a conviction, if there's a verdict, it comes from them. It's sort of like the best way I can tell you is, like when you have a sport game, whether it's soccer or football or the NFL, and in the NFL or another sport, the referees get involved and they have a penalty that leads to points or something like that. And they say something like, the refs or the referees decided the game. That's sort of the same thing with the court. The court wants it to go to trial so that the final decision is in the hands of the jury. So they don't need to prove a whole lot. Basically, all they need to prove is that a crime happened and this person has some sort of basis to be accused of it. Doesn't even have to be beyond a reasonable doubt. They just have to show that he has any semi, in this sort of universe, as long as he is connected to it in some tangible way, it's going to trial. So that is basically what happened here. He is going to go to trial. We will probably wait on that. And yeah, I'm just not surprised. I just always figure this is just a formality. So we will go to trial. They said today that the evidence that we'd heard over these previous 4 to 5 days was scratching the surface on the type of evidence that they have. So that is very interesting to me. I am looking forward to seeing like what is this other evidence that they reckon that they have. And we've already heard quite a bit over these what is it, like 4 or 5. Today was day 5, but today was basically the judge giving their decision. So those 4 days of evidence giving, yeah, I mean we heard quite a bit. I don't think anything new. I think like the majority of stuff we had a fairly good idea about. Probably more like context. Like, we got more of a context to those. We already knew there were a communication history between Celeste and David, but we sort of got a little bit of context of like what is in those messages, including, we had already heard about the Plan B and the birth control and the A word. I wish we could use real words on YouTube, but apparently we're not adults. Apparently, there are far too many children who watch adult topics on YouTube, and it means that the adults, including us and you guys, means that we can't use real words because it might offend someone, which I always find weird because they're real words. I find that weird that we can't use them. But they're saying here, basically, it's done and dusted. Well, you know what? Something happened today with the David thing, which I found pretty. Look, I have a pretty sick and twisted humor sometimes. And I found this quite funny, even though maybe like the majority of people would not find it funny. But someone uploaded on like his iTunes account a song that said, I did it. The actual song itself was that unreleased track that we'd heard about a year ago of David singing about Celeste. Something about like, I can smell her on my clothes and blah blah blah. But yeah, someone had uploaded it to his iTunes account. They hacked his iTunes account and basically said that I did it. Very OJ Simpson, very OJ Simpson. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find the screenshot for you. I had it before. Is it here? Yeah, I'll just see if I've got it so you guys can see it as well. Just seeing if it's in this. No, it's not there. Thought I had it. Yeah, that's what I want. I don't know. Weird. Yeah, iTunes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna grab it for you guys. Give me a sec. Uh, Apparently everything's loading slowly today. There we go. So there you go. They uploaded this, and the title was "I Did It." It is a single, and it was that Celeste track that we'd heard. It's like a minute long. It has some lyrics talking about her, how much he loves her, or something. Wait, is it still there? It's not there. I can see it in like the tracking of the website, but I can't access it anymore. Yeah, it comes up if you Google it, but you can't access it no more. Uh, Look, whoever did that has a real sense of humor. I think in a way it's some people just reacting to what's going on. He was part of that world being on Discord and all these sort of kids that did this type of thing online. So I'm not, shocked that someone would do this. Here, there's another screenshot I'd really love to show you. Yeah, there we go. So I think there was one more screen. Yeah, here, yeah. Here's what it looked like at the time. So I did it. And then it has a picture of the car. Well done, well done. Very, very world class trolling by whoever did this. I don't know how they got into his iTunes account and decided that would be a fun thing to do, but hey Shasta, how are you? Shasta said I never heard of this guy. That's all right. You don't have to hear about him. Hey Joe, what's up, brother? Good to see you. So that's basically your update with him. So we will go to trial. We are probably going to wait on another hearing. So when someone is committed to stand trial, we have to start that pre-trial process, and there will be a bunch of hearings before we actually get to a trial day, unless he forgoes his right and then he wants a fast trial. I wouldn't be surprised because his legal team's already said a couple of times they really want to get to the sort of meat and potatoes of this as soon as possible. So maybe we'll end up being at trial before the end of the year. I would think it's possible. I'm just trying to see if there is a date that they're going to give us. No. Yep. Let me have a look. All right. What does it tell us? Following year, he'll remain in custody without bail. That's pretty normal. He's set for an arraignment hearing on the 31st of August with a trial expected within 60 to 90 days. Yeah, that's right, before the end of the year. Yeah, they've said since he's basically appeared in court that first time that they want him in a trial setting as quickly as possible. Like his legal team really thinks that they have the upper hand here. I don't know why they think that, but apparently they do. And that's gonna be a fast timeline. LA trials to go from a indictment, like, earlier this year to go to trial by, like, say, October or November is pretty quick. I would think depending on the length of the trial and where that timeline places it, I would be surprised if they push this through, like, say, late November, early December. I would think they might even push it off till January, but we'll see. We'll see how fast they can do this. Wait, 90 days would be no, that would be like middle of October, maybe. I mean, it's still got enough time, even if they want to run like an 8-week trial, they have enough time to get that done and dusted before the court goes on break over the Christmas and New Year period. That's sort of like what they have to beat. They if it starts landing any later than that, they'll probably just put it into next year. But so far, if he goes 31st of August, yeah, they have time. Definitely have time to do it in middle of October. So, wow, it's a very busy second half of the year. We had a sort of bit of a quiet first half of the year, and the second half of the year is shaping up to be an absolute crazy time. We've got Martha's husband goes on trial in October. We have possibly David going on trial maybe in October or November. We have Samantha Murphy heading to trial in September. We have Joe's trial going into trial, was it middle of August? So it is a really busy time. We also have Aaron Patterson's appeal coming up late in August too. It is going to be a bit mental. We've got a ton of friggin' things going on. Courtney Clenny, yeah, we got that one too. Oh my god, there's too many things. Jules says, "Don't know how anyone would want meat or potatoes after hearing about the evidence in this case. It's just a I don't think anyone wants that. I think it's just a way of describing like getting to the main portion of proceedings, not actually any meat and potatoes. So yes, busy, friggin' busy August, September, October, and possibly a November as well. Geez, busy time. I don't know how we're gonna do that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out how the hell we're gonna do that. Um, yeah, because I really want to do the MAMTA thing. I really, really want to do that one. That one means a lot to me. This one does too. We followed this one from the early days of her body being found in that Tesla. But that MAMTA cuffler butt one, I really just want to see him, I just want to see that evidence put before him in a court of law. And I want to know more about what happened with that one because that woman may never be found. She may never be returned to her parents. And I feel like she doesn't have a lot of family in the US, but she has so many supporters, like, the local people who have been advocating on her behalf. They've made that little group, which I think is amazing. The people around the world that are very supportive of seeing justice be done for her. There's hundreds of people that want that. So I want to do that. I'm confused how we'll do both of these at the same time, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Um, I know. Sean said, I'm still awaiting the trial of the chef whom stabbed the teen flagging down their car in Camden. Huh. Yes. I actually know someone in that trial. I know a family member. I can't tell you who it is, but I've been speaking to them since the day that happened in Camden. Which thank you for reminding me. I have to reach out to her and see how the family's doing. Um, that is a very, very odd case. Now, if you don't know what Sean's talking about what was it, about a year ago? Yeah, about a year ago, there was a teenage boy who was out in a sort of rural-ish area with some friends. They had been camping out there, and then he ended up going back to the main road, and this guy in a car, there was a female and a male in the car. He ended up stopping the car. There was some sort of confrontation between this young person and the people in the car, and a knife was produced, and the knife ended up cutting the artery in the kid's arm and killed him. He basically bled to death on the side of the road. They found his body there the next morning. That is a very interesting, yeah, Jacob Grieg, right? Jacob Grieg. Yeah, I haven't heard a lot about it. I've like I said, I do know one of the family members involved, and I have spoken to her a couple of times. I just haven't heard anything in a while about Jacob. Jacob. Was it set down for trial? Jacob G jailed for slashing 15-year-old boy. Yeah, we knew that. We knew he had been done. When is he going to trial? Because, like, I remember when he was remanded in custody on the charges, but I don't remember hearing anything else. Yeah, bail. He was refused bail. They offered a 100 grand surety to the court, and they said no. Magistrate denied the application for bail. They're saying here there was a committal hearing. Wow, he had a long committal time frame. So he was done in like November last year. He only went to a committal hearing in August of 2025, like almost 10 months later, where prosecutors formally certified the charges to proceed to trial in the New South Wales Supreme Court. Yeah, when is he? When is because I don't remember hearing about a trial date for this. Yeah, I've not heard about a trial date. I can inquire with the court and see what's going on. The fact that this was put down to go to trial a year ago, and we still don't have the fact that we don't have a day is odd. So in the New South Wales Supreme Court, it's very much like Victoria. They don't like to mess around. They want their cases on the docket and then gone. So the fact that this is already 12 months later and they don't, there must be something holding it up, whether they're going through um, some sort of like evidence gathering in the court, something similar to a 198B hearing where it's not publicized. I will have to reach out to, yeah, I'm going to reach out to that family member that I know. They would be going to the court, so I'll ask them what's going on, and if there is a trial date, they would know. I know they've been keeping an eye on it. So I will talk to her and I will see what's going on. But yeah, if you guys don't remember, it was this fella. I'll put his thing up here. This guy right here. He was accused of killing that young kid. There's more photos of him here. There's another photo of him, and he's accused of, yeah, killing this young boy on the side of the road. Like, it's one of the most horrific things I've ever heard of. Like, why was a knife produced? Why did you have to Why did you have to hurt the kid? You were in a car. You didn't have to let that kid inside the car, and you could have driven away. Why did you produce a knife and then, uh, slice the kid in the arm? Like, that kid hit an artery and he basically bled to death. And they, yeah, really, Really gruesome injury, really, really gruesome. So the 15-year-old boy's name, I believe, has never been given out. But I'm just trying to find out here. I remember we saw a video. Was it the video or a something around? I think we saw a video of the car on the road and then something happening. They're saying here that New South Wales police detective said that Isaac. Oh, we do know a name. The kid's name is Isaac. Isaac tried to open the passenger door of the vehicle with video and audio capturing the incident, showing the teenager saying, "I'm trying to get home." Greg was in a red Hyundai i30 with a 21-year-old duck breeder named Johanna Martin. The pair drove out towards Malden Weir, where after she picked up Mr. Grieg at approximately 10 p.m. after he finished a shift working as a chef at the Bargo Sports Club. Isaac pulled on the front and rear passenger door handles, causing the handle to come off the car and fall onto the roadway. The accused responded, "I'll effing get you good. I'm going to chop your hand off." It is alleged that Grieg then slashed the teenager with a knife, causing Isaac to sustain a significant laceration to the inner right forearm and to bleed profusely. Shock new details from nearby CCTV footage not previously released reveal that immediately after the alleged attack, the pair commenced driving away and Isaac jumped onto the moving car but fell off into the roadside. And then that's where they basically found him in the morning, dead. They found him dead. He bled out. They're saying here on the road, they found a trail of blood extending more than 30 meters. Brutal, absolutely brutal. Yeah, I want to see if we can find that footage so we can all go back to it. But it's a so the last update I have is that he was supposed to be back in court January 8 of no, that's last year. I don't know. I'm not sure what is going on and why his trial has sort of stagnated. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Back to November, about a year ago when this all happened.
From an idyllic camping spot by the Nepean River to being left for dead, bleeding out in bushland, the final hours of the 15-year-old boy's life are strange and horrifying. The details spilling out in court today.
If my client's found guilty, there is a likelihood of a lifetime imprisonment.
This is Jacob Grigg, a chef with a self-professed obsession with knives.
How's Jacob doing?
According to police, the victim left his group of mates by the Malden Weir and came across this red Hyundai. Grigg was inside with a female. Police say the boy tried to get inside the car, ripping off a rear door handle. "I'm trying to get home," he said. But police say Grigg snapped and produced a large knife. "I'll get you good. I'm going to chop your hand off." Grigg then allegedly slashed the victim on the forearm. That proved to be the fatal blow before police say the pair sped off. The boy crawled 30 metres into bushland and had bled to death by the time his mates found him the next morning.
These are the most serious matters that come before the court.
Friends described the high school student as a loving, selfless boy. He was the type of kid who would give the shirt off his back to someone who needed it more. "You left a hole in my heart no one will ever be able to fill." Grigg's family were willing to put up $100,000 this afternoon to have him released on bail, arguing he's the sole provider of a 4-year-old boy and his wife who is due to give birth next month. But the magistrate denied it, saying he's now facing several decades in prison for allegedly taking a life that lasted just 15 years. Tom Saker, 7 News.
Yeah, that crime scene was brutal. This, what you see on the right there, these are all the markers of the blood trail that they found on the road. The body is on the right side of the screen where it's pixelated. That is where they ended up finding that 15-year-old named Isaac just dead on the side of the road in the morning. I heard he was going to put up a self-defense claim here, but I would be worried, like, how could you possibly do that when you're the one in the position to get away? You're in a car, you're on a road, you don't have to stop for anyone, and you could have got away. The other thing that there's a problem with, he never contacted emergency services. So if this happened to you, and it really was a self-defense claim, the one thing I think that would be like your Hail Mary here was if you drove away and then called authorities and said, "Hey, this kid was on the road. I ended up defending myself with a knife. I may have hit him, but he's out there somewhere. Please go and help him. He may be injured." If he had done that, he may have gotten away with it. But the fact that he never told anyone is probably gonna be what convicts him. Because you can't do that. You can't pull out a knife, say it is self-defense, and then tell no one. A jury might see that as a self-admission of guilt because you don't want to call authorities about what happened. A innocent person would call authorities because they would be like, "Well, I haven't done anything wrong. I want to make sure that this young person is okay." And, they're in the middle of the bushland. It's far away from people. Like you heard, no one found the body till the next morning. You were basically the only person driving through there that night. So, yeah, that's always been the linchpin to me that there's a problem with that self defense story. We'll have to see where this is going. I find it very odd that we're a year away from when he was committed to stand trial in the New South Wales Supreme Court, but no updates since then. Yeah, let's have a look. Why is it not on a trial? Because like normally there would be this would be booked in or something and we'd be able to find it. Defense highlighted that a physical altercation took place, which was yeah, okay, I get it. So apparently the defense is saying that this physical altercation that took place where the teenager is the aggressor, yeah, yeah, that's fine. But when you pull out a knife and you're the only one that has a motor vehicle, the power dynamic in that physical conflict then swings to the other party because now you have a weapon and you have a motorized way to get out of the area. The other person has nothing. They just are a person on the side of the road. Yeah, they might be acting aggressive or violent, but you don't have the right to kill someone in this type of situation. So it's a hard defense to try and throw up that this is some sort of like I was just defending myself and the woman in my car. It is difficult. They're saying here, yeah, so the magistrate was not persuaded by the offer of $100,000 surety, allowing Grieg to get out of jail and to be on bail while he was waiting for a trial. But so far, so no, this didn't happen last year. This happened the year before. So 2 years ago. Wow, I can't believe it's 2 years ago. Let me see. It's just odd that there's been no update since like, over a year ago now. Here, let me have a look. When was the last update we had? A year ago. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, yeah, 12 months ago. That is the last update I can find. And so is that the kid? Hold on. Ah, that's the young boy. This is the young kid right here. This is the young kid called Isaac. And he is the one who was killed allegedly by Grieg on that side of that road. And that is very sad. Very sad. Apparently there was, so his name is Isaac Walton. Isaac Walton. They end up having a funeral. This is his funeral. So they had this funeral for him. A lot of people turned out, and seems like it was a very busy funeral because he had so many friends who loved him. You can see a lot of young people in the crowd there. So very sad case. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the lead up to this. Hey, Montana. Montana said, so why did they stop the car if they did not want to assist him? I remember we got a transcript of what happened. I'll see if I can find it. They basically said that they were going to help him, but when he started acting aggressively, like pulling on the door handles, they decided not to help him, and then everything went wrong. I don't know whether that is the truth or not, but I do remember that is what they basically said, that this is what they that is what has happened. They were going to stop and help the kid, but yeah, just when he started going ballistic, they were like, nope, nope, we don't want to help anymore. Let's see. So apparently some prior reporting has been taken down. So there was a prior video where you could see a transcript of what happened and a video of a CCTV thing, and it's been removed, probably because it's been put to trial. That tends to happen here. Let's see. Transcript. Let me see if I can find the transcript. Uh-huh. Yeah, I've sort of got it here. So the confrontation begins. Jacob Grieg allegedly exited the vehicle with a torch and a large knife. Court documents state he yelled towards the 15-year-old victim, "Oi, you effing dog." And then he began to chase the teenager. The teenager began to back away from the vehicle and from Grieg. And Grieg said, "Where are your effing mates? F you. I'll effing kill you, you effing dog." The teenager who was trying to find a ride home allegedly tried to calm Grieg by pleading, "I'm just looking for a lift home. I love my girlfriend, bro. Lad, we live in the same world." Police allege that right before slashing the boy's arm, Grieg taunted him by screaming, "I'll effing get you good. I'm going to chop your effing hand off." And they're saying, according to prosecutors, a physical confrontation moved just outside of view of the camera seconds after those words were spoken. However, the audio and initial actions captured on CCTV form a core pillar of the Supreme Court case. So that is what happened that night. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can actually find that old video where they have it. Yeah, I do have a very old copy of it here.
Signs of mourning on a secluded roadway in Sydney's southwestern outskirts, where a teenage boy was found dead in the bush. The body of the teenager from the Picton area was discovered near Wilton on Saturday morning, near a local campsite. 32-year-old chef Jacob Grieg was charged with his murder after handing himself into police. The court heard the boy was intoxicated and trying to get a lift home from the campsite late on Friday night, when the chef, who police say he didn't know, allegedly attacked him, slashing his right forearm. Prosecutors telling the court the accused threatened to kill him and chop his hand off. Some of the altercation was captured on CCTV. Police say the bleeding teenager jumped on Mr. Grieg's car, then fell off. Detectives identified a 30-metre-long trail of blood extending from his body. The accused lawyer says the matter will be contested, questioning whether the fatal injuries could have been the result of the teenager's fall from the car roof.
The matter that's come before the court today is a very serious matter. If my client's found guilty, there is a likelihood of a lifetime imprisonment.
With family members offering support and a second baby on the way, he urged the court to allow Mr. Grieg home detention. The magistrate denied the request for bail, describing the prosecution case as strong. He said if convicted, Jacob Grieg faces many decades behind bars, with sounds of shock coming from his family in court.
I don't know how you could possibly say that an injury caused by a knife could possibly be the same as a injury that you might fall off a car. Unless your car was made out of knives, I don't see how that could possibly coincide with the evidence. Now, how would the prosecution contend with that claim? They would just go to the medical examiner and say, what is this injury to the boy? How is it most likely caused? And they might go, we've been able to match it to a knife. This knife has, microscopic, imperfections. These imperfections are very similar to the injury that Isaac Walton had. And that's how they would diffuse that type of argument. You would have to prove that this car had something sharp enough on it that it could cause a similar injury, or there would have to be something around the vehicle that would cause a deep enough cut to the, well, this is the left arm, a deep enough cut to the right arm that it could cut an artery that you could bleed out from it and die. Unless he broke his arm and he had a compound fracture or something like, I don't think so though. That's the only thing I could think of. Hey, good to see you. Canadian Nana said, I initially started to watch because I like true crime. Are you talking about my voice? His voice is calming and it's my bedtime while he's live, but the coverage and conversation is so interesting. I don't sleep the first time. Hey, nice to meet you, Canadian Nana. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for jumping in the chat. If more people did that, I would appreciate it. Just jump in the chat, say hi. The show works on, it's a two-way street. I have to have the people talk to me to give you content. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad you do. I hope we give you things that maybe are not covered by other channels. That's always been the motivation of this channel, is not to always focus on what's popular, or, we did do the David thing, but the only reason we did that is because the day that happened, we were covering it live on this channel. So we followed it all the way through. But a lot of the times we try to go to different cases that are not getting coverage. There is no channel talking about it. Aaron Patterson is a good example. When we started on that journey, I was the only person making content on it, and we followed it all the way through trial, all the way through sentencing, and now we're heading to the appeal in a month's time. So yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Winner still said you come for true crime and stay for ping. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey Joe, how are you? Does jumping jacks in the chat count? Yeah, you got to stay fit, Joe. When you go to trial and have to sit in a chair for like 7 hours a day, that exercise that you do in the chat might keep you alive. It might. It very might. Canadian said, because I don't like watching the same details 20 times. Yeah, we try to do things that you've never heard of before. Now, I will contact the family member that I know about this particular case, and I'll try and get an update for you. She's a little flighty. She's a lovely person, but as you could imagine, their family is dealing with a really hard time. They have, I don't want to tell you what side of the family they're on, but I'll just say that their family is dealing with a very difficult situation, having a court case like this where a young person has been killed. And I understand why she's a little flighty. So, but I will try and reach out to her. She's a very nice lady, and I will try and figure out what is going on, because the last update I have is that he was in court in August of 2025, where prosecutors certified the charges against him during a committal hearing in Campbelltown local court. The matter has been fast-tracked for a judge and jury trial in the New South Wales Supreme Court, but that's a year ago. That's not a fast-track jury trial. A fast-track jury trial is normally within, I think it's about half a year. So we've already doubled that estimate. So something's going on. I don't know what it is, but something has occurred between August of last year and now. Whatever it is, I don't know, but I will find out for you. I will find out. Since his arrest, this local newspaper called Southern Wire say that they can confirm that Greig has appeared several times this year in Campbelltown local court from jail via a video live stream, including the committal hearing on August 20, where prosecutors confirmed the charges on which they will proceed to trial in the New South Wales Supreme Court. Interesting. Family friend. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, there has been no update. So something is delaying it. I would think that it probably should have gone to trial already, because he would move. So the Campbelltown local court is a small, low-level court. It has to go to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court is 2 levels up. So right now he's at the local court, or he was, and then he would have to go to the Supreme Court here. New South Wales. Let's have a look. When is he going? I don't know. No idea. It just says Jacob Greig is facing a trial in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. That's it. So there is something obviously delaying it. I will talk to the family member and I will try and find out what is going on. Canadian Nana said, I've never heard of most of the cases you cover. It's interesting and refreshing. Thank you. Please tell all your friends. I would appreciate it. Jules said, when did the second baby come about? He already has one child. I believe that child was 4 years old at the time of the offense. I believe the other baby is probably born by now. So his girlfriend was pregnant when he allegedly committed the crime. So she would have already had that baby by now. I've heard he's got other children. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that he's got maybe more children than that. I will try and figure it out, but that's what I have heard. Gail said partner was pregnant at the time of the offense. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Lisa said not enough thumbs up. If you could thumbs up the channel, that really helps. If you can get me to 100 each night, that really helps the channel. We get bigger sort of like content spread across YouTube. That really helps. Hey, you guys are really kind with the jewels. I don't know what they do, but they look pretty on the screen. So thank you. And Sean gave, was it Mamma Mia that got it? That is very kind. You guys with the, whatever this is, I appreciate it. Hey, Content Angel, how are you? So right now in the Supreme, I think it's in the County Court of Victoria right now, there is a hearing underway. They are trying to find out if we can know the name of someone who was convicted today of R-word and assault. Now, this man just faced a trial in the County Court of Victoria. It's in the city, and he was found guilty. Now, do you remember I told you on Friday I went to a hearing for Gregory Lynn? Well, Gregory Lynn's lawyer is the same lawyer for this particular case, and that is why we didn't get to have that hearing for Gregory Lynn on Friday. It's because this case was underway and was about to head out to the jury to deliberate. Well, that jury has now come back with a guilty verdict, but he has a suppression order on his name. So they are in court right now. I can see it. They are in court right now fighting. So I can tell you that there is probably one lawyer that is representing every media outlet in Australia. They'll be representing News Limited, ABC, The Guardian, Daily Mail, like everyone, and they will be fighting to try and get this suppression order overturned, because they will say now that he's been found guilty, he no longer has the right to have his name suppressed by the court. But it is a sexual crime. The fact that the woman in this particular case was someone who worked very closely with the now convicted man, there is a possibility the court may find that if they name the guy, people might know who the complainant is, the female. So the female that is now, the claims have been proven in court that he R-worded and sexually assaulted her back in 2023. They might find that by naming the guy, you may be able to figure out who the victim is. So they're in court right now. So I'm expecting an update any minute now about whether that has been overturned or it's going to continue. So yeah, this guy went through a really long trial, and through this entire thing, he was not allowed to be named. Now, this has been going through the court since 2023, and there was some pretty crazy details in this particular trial. One of them being that the cops got evidence from his home, but the man had put clothing, including underwear and a shirt, into a washing machine. When it came time for trial, the judge found that the chances of cross-contamination with other items in the washing machine was too high and could not be used in front of the jury. One of the other things they found is the female victim, she went to a police station where, because she was so inebriated with alcohol, they couldn't get her consent to do a sexual assault kit on her. So they asked her to take the swabs and do it herself in a bathroom. But they found at trial that this evidence was inadmissible to the court, even though the DNA test came back as it came back as two different males, but one of the males was the accused male that is now being convicted. But they threw out that evidence because they said the way that swab was collected in the bathroom of a police station by the victim is not the forensic way that you do that. And it could have been cross-contaminated. She could have had an item of clothing of his. It could have been accidental cross-contamination because they had spent many previous hours together. So it could have been on her clothes. It could have been on her hands. It could have been anywhere. So in the end, they did not allow the DNA evidence into the trial, but you know, they still found this man guilty after this multi-week trial in the County Court of Victoria, and now the media outlets are in the court fighting to make his name public right now. So I'm waiting just to see if we get an update. These hearings are normally pretty quick, about 15 minutes, and I'm hoping we're going to get an update. So give me a sec. I'm just going to see. Nope. Let me check the Herald and see if they've got permission to name him. So far, no update on who this man might be, but they are calling him a high-profile Victorian. So they're saying that he's not an ordinary guy. He is a high-profile guy from Victoria. So I will let you know should we get an update for this in the next half an hour or so. And if I do, I'll tell you who this man is. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. You've never heard of that before? I can't say I've ever heard of a sexual assault kit being done by the victim before. So I can't say I've ever heard of that either. Normally it's done by a doctor or a nurse or someone with a medical background. I've never heard of them handing the swabs to the victim and saying, go do this on your own in a bathroom. So, yeah, interesting, but it was never allowed into the trial. A politician? I don't think it's a politician. As far as I know, I don't think that is correct. They're calling him a high-profile Melbourne businessman. Now, there's a lot of high-profile businessmen in Melbourne. I'm trying to think of like someone who I don't want to name anyone because it might not be them, but there's a few that it could be. Yeah, no update as of yet. Yeah, no update from the Herald in the last little bit. All right, if we end up getting that verdict, I will let you know. But so far, no update from the county court. Kathy said that was bad police work having her swab herself. Also, sending the guy upstairs in his own home to get evidence. That's not how you do that. The cops have to grab the evidence and put it into a bag and seal it. The fact that they allowed him to go touch evidence, that is not a good thing, because then how do you do DNA work on that item when you sent the guy to go and get it and he touched it? That's not a good way of doing it either. Sweet never said usually it's done in the ER room. Yeah, why am I thinking? Hold on, guys. We are getting rid of this chair. So about a year ago, I bought this new chair and it has ruined my back. It has ruined my legs too. It's really fucked up my legs. And we are getting rid of it. We are looking for a new ergonomic type chair because I spend so much time here doing stuff, doing court things, doing the live show. I need one that can support my back and my legs for 7 hours a day. So we are getting rid of this particular chair, and it is terrible. Worst computer chair I've ever bought. Gail said it took about a year to get here. It took about 3 months to get the chair, and then it took me about 2 weeks to go and pick it up. But yeah, it took a while, and it's been awful. It's been awful. It's been the worst chair. It looks beautiful, great looking chair, but it has no support. Has no support for your back or your legs or your spine. And if I sit here for too long, I've been getting pins and needles in my legs, and that's not good. So we are looking for a new chair. Kathy said, surely there is a desk chair that is built for long time sitting. Yeah, there is. There's I can't remember the name of them, but there is a chair that office people buy for that. Yeah, the struggle is real. Yep, I agree. Sean said, get one that vibrates and heats up. I don't want to encourage Mrs. Ping to sit in my chair. Canadian Nana says, I put on loop video every night. I'm not creepy. But I will say before I close phones, second time I sleep. Hey, have fun. Have a good sleep. I thank you for introducing yourself. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Remember to hit that like button for me. I would really appreciate it. Have a good sleep, and I hope not to give you any creepy dreams. Sean said, and a cup holder? A cup holder? I had a cup holder on my desk, and I broke it. I walked past one day and it snagged on my pants and just snapped. But we used to have one and a headphone thing, but it snapped. Warner still said you should try a bottom pillow. It's a weird thing to call things. With a tailbone part cut out. Oh, a one of those chair things. Like this, like like what I was sitting on, like this thing here, this thing right here. Yeah, I bought one. Yeah, I bought one to try and make the chair a bit better. So yeah, I do have one. So Ping has one. Serena said, before I call it a check and see if you guys are on. Hey, my friend, good to see you. Kathy said, a chair large enough for the cats to sit with you. No, the last thing I want in the summertime in Victoria when it's like 110 degrees is I don't want two fluffy cats climbing all over me more than they already do. Muffin has a bed. You guys can't see it, but it's right next to my chair here. Here, I wonder if I can make a noise. That noise is Muffin's. He's got like a bed here. So he's got like, it's right next to my chair here. He's actually sleeping over here right now, but he does have a bed that he uses right next to my chair here. So that was to stop him sleeping all over me. Sean said, I use one made of bamboo and a lumbar pillow. There was one I was looking at, but apparently they sold out, unfortunately. Gail said, you got a cool mat for the chair so you stay cool with the cats. Feel like we're going to have too many add-ons for the chair. First, you guys want a backrest, a footrest, a butt rest, and now you want a cup holder, a vibrating thing, a heating thing, a cooling thing. I'm not sure such a chair exists that has all those different things. But there's a brand. Is it called? What is it called? There's like a type of chair. I can't remember what the brand is, but like they buy it for like offices, like like people who work in the city. And there's a brand that everyone says is like the best brand. And I'm trying to remember what it's called. I just typed it in. I'm just trying to have a look and see what they're called. What's the best brand of chair? Yeah. I'm just trying to see if they'll tell me the name. Oh, no, that's not it. I can't find it right now, but there's like a brand that everyone says is like the best one. The only problem with those ones are, and I looked them up, was like they're like oh yeah, there it is, a Herman Miller. So Herman Miller are like the best ones that you can get, but like a decent chair in Herman Miller is literally like $2,500, and I am not spending $2,500 on a chair. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not that type of person. I would never do that. I don't like wasting money, and I couldn't bring myself to spend that kind of money on a chair. I just couldn't do it. But they make nice chairs, but yeah, $2,500 are sort of like, there you go, there's one. They're like fully ergonomic and all that you can move the chair and the lumbar, and they've got other ones where you can move the handles and the backrest and that. But yeah, the good ones are like $2,500, and I'm not gonna do that. Get a throne, yeah. We could get a throne, like a really big one that's like got LED lights all over it. Yeah, we could do that. It's your body though, Ping. I know, but I can't spend $2,500 on a chair. I'll buy a different one that costs less. Kathy said, time to start a chair fund. I can't do it, guys. I can't spend $2,500 on a chair. Content Angel says Herman Miller. Yeah, this is the one that everyone kept recommending to me, saying like, if you use a chair for many hours and you need something that'll support your legs, back, neck, you should get a Herman Miller. But even secondhand, they're like $1,000. They're ridiculous. But there's other brands, guys. Like, this is not the be-in and end all. There's other brands that make chairs. So, but I'm just saying this is the one that everyone seems to recommend for some reason. Maybe because they're really good. I don't know. Let's see. Solutions, work from home. Yeah, like you guys won't be able to see it, but there's a type of chair. These ones. These are the ones they say are really good for work from home because, like, they're fully they mimic your spine all the way down, and then they have the adjustable actual seat, so it rocks on like 3 axes. But yeah, these ones are the crazy expensive. We'll see. Does your cat stick like glue? Mine does. Woman of Steel said I couldn't either. That's why I feel like S. Yeah, I'm one of these people that can't do it. Joe said, "Lazy boy, big tall office chairs are awesome and very affordable. I love mine. I'm not a big fan of gaming chairs. Their back contours are not ergonomic for me." I'll have a look. I don't know if that brand is in Australia, but I'll have a look, Joe, if you think it's good. Because I need something that'll not wreck my back. Because, like, since we bought this chair, my back and legs have been like 1,000 times worse. Warner still said, "I could see it if you were a journalist and sat down and worked hard all day." Yeah, imagine that. Imagine if I was a journalist and worked hard all day. Gayla said, "My doctor swears at a standing desk and one of those kneeling sitting chairs. I am not buying a standing desk. I mean, no. What am I going to do? Stand all day? I'm not doing that. I like to sit. I'm lazy, all right? I'm old. I'm 42 this year. No. Yeah, I'm 42 this year. I'm 42 in like 2 weeks. It's my birthday in like 2 weeks. All right. Let's keep going. Okay, no update from the courts so far. I'm surprised. I am really surprised that they must be duking it out in court right now. The fact that we don't have an update. Still, I will tell you if we get an update, I'll let you know. All right. Our other story for tonight, I have more stories. Now, this one is very interesting. Okay, I'll give you an option. We can either do my next story or we can check in on Seattle. Now, we did find out who the people are that unfortunately died in the Seattle shooting last night. There were new updates, and that 56-year-old woman that we thought was under emergency surgery yesterday, she was the one that passed away. So on the air last night, we were saying there was like 2 dead and so many injured. While we're on the air, we got an update that a 3rd person had died, and it really was that 56-year-old woman. Unfortunately, she did not make it through the surgery and she passed away, which I think is just horrific. The fact that, and they're saying now that these people who did the shooting, there might have been 3 or 4 of them, and they were just shooting at their rival gang members. And I'm like, really? Is that so? You killed these innocent people to get back at your arch nemesis in a public place with thousands of people around? Like, that's what you did. Here's a photo allegedly. I can't confirm it, but allegedly, this is the suspect that they picked up yesterday. They are still looking for more people who are involved. They reckon there might be 2 or 3 others. Now, I want to get you the victims' identities. Hold on. Where is it? Yep. So one of them is 15 years old. Can you believe that? 15. And they did this, took away lovely people from this world. And I think that is BS, if you ask me. Absolutely BS. All right, I'm going to take you out to ABC7 in the Bay Area, and they have a press conference that I want to watch a little bit of with you, and then we'll show you the victims.
Shortly after 6 p.m. last night, officers responded to the sound of gunfire. They were assigned to support Bite of Seattle and were on scene within seconds and took one suspect into custody. No police weapons were discharged. We believe that 2 people exchanged gunfire outside the Seattle Center Armory. 7 victims were caught in the crossfire, with a possible 8th. And again, Chief Scoggins will be providing more detail about the victims after my remarks. A 19-year-old man, a 44-year-old man, and a 56-year-old woman were killed. 2 died at the scene, and a 3rd passed away at Harborview Medical Center. Official identification will come from the King County Medical Examiner's Office. The Seattle Police Department detained a 15-year-old juvenile in connection with the shooting. The teen was booked into the Judge Patricia H. Clark Children and Family Justice Center for investigation for firearms violations and first-degree assault. We believe this teenager opened fire in the crowd, but details are still under investigation. This individual will have a first appearance court hearing at 1:30 p.m. today. And again, we have not formally arrested anyone for investigation of homicide. We appreciate your patience, and we are releasing information when we can. Please remember that we are only 17 hours into this case. I know there have been a lot of questions about this, so I do want to briefly address the timeline.
So there's a little bit of update here. I want to show you. There's a woman. She's 56 years old. Her name is Ashley Whitehead, and she was the victim who unfortunately passed away in hospital yesterday, undergoing emergency surgery. She did not make it through the surgery and unfortunately died on the operating table. I think that is horrible. This woman obviously headed out to this Bite of Seattle to have some fun, be with the community, get some food, and enjoy the summertime. And she ended up, dying for going to a festival. She set out in the morning and never went home. I think that is a real tragedy. This woman done nothing to anyone. There was another guy. His name is Carlos. He's 44 years old. Here's a photo with him and his dog. And here's another one of the victims. Did not make it home to his family. He died at the scene. He died pretty quickly, very instantly. Did not make it to a hospital, and did not make it back to his family either after being at the festival. And the 3rd victim, if I have their photo here for you. So he was 44 years old, and it's very scary because he was with his family at the festival, and you see this guy. Look, I'll show you. This is him and his children and his wife. Dad never came home yesterday. Dad did not go home with them to their property. So he leaves behind multiple children because someone was being a selfish jack-off and decided to open fire with a firearm. I think that's ridiculous. Now, the 3rd victim, their name is there's a 3rd victim called Junior C. Nico Semo. They're 19. Now, I don't know if they're involved or not. I have no idea, but I don't have a photo of them either. But I hope they're not involved, and I hope they're well, I don't hope they're an innocent person, but, I hope they weren't one of the gang members who were shooting people at the festival. But there is a 19-year-old, but their photo is not online. Oh, wait, hold on. Mayor Kate Wilson confirmed in a Monday afternoon statement that the 19-year-old killed at the scene was involved in the gunfire exchange. So they killed one of them. So the 19-year-old is not an innocent victim. They are part of the chaos. That is very annoying. The fact that he died, that's his fault. The fact that these other 2 people died, well, they never deserved to do that. They deserve to go and have their fun, enjoy the festival, and go home. The fact that these 2 never made it home is tragic. It's very tragic. So, an awful thing. Why they decided to take guns to what should be like a fun food festival for everyone. Get some food, listen to the music, go on some rides, eat some weird things that you probably wouldn't normally eat. Whether it's a dessert or alligator bites. They had alligator bites there. Look, alligator bites and frog's legs and whatever this thing is over here, jumbo chicken barbecue, pork barbecue, crispy something. Sounds like a lot of fun. Not for people to pick up firearms and shoot at each other. So how very sad that these people did not make it home. I think that's and this poor lady, they got her to a hospital, they got her into surgery, tried to stem the bleeding, and unfortunately, they could not solve her medical issues. And to me, that is very, very tragic. So, look, they've got one of them. One of them is dead, but they believe there's more people. They believe there's maybe two more people that they're trying to track down, and they believe they were part of the scene as well. So they're saying here, no, yeah, sorry, I want to go to a different article. But they're saying that they're definitely looking for more people. So the 19-year-old killed at the scene was involved in the gunfire exchange. Police arrested another suspect. That's that 15-year-old you saw in the other photo. They're looking for a third, but possibly, I've heard, also a fourth person. Now, they're pretty sure on the third person, but I've also heard maybe they think there's another person as well based off CCTV and people filming and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see whether they can track these people down. But they should be running. You should be running for your life. You do that to people, you should be running. It's not a game. You do this, you become everyone's going to be looking for you because, like, look what you've done. It's ridiculous. I'm just trying to see if there is a photo of this other 19-year-old. And I'm trying to have a look. I don't see anyone who might have posted what they look like. I'm just trying to. No, I don't see that photo for this junior Semo or Semo. I do not see their photo. Tell you here, they said earlier today in documents filed in juvenile court in Seattle, where a 15-year-old was arrested in the case, waived his initial appearance on Monday. Police said they believed they were at least 3 shooters, at least, rather than 2. And they're saying the 15-year-old, an acquaintance who died at the scene, and at least one other unknown individual. So they're looking for 3, maybe more people. They're saying a judge ordered the 15-year-old held in a juvenile detention center for investigation of firearms violations and first-degree assault. King County prosecutors said it is expected to receive the case from Seattle PD on Wednesday for a charging decision. So they're going to wait till Wednesday, apparently, till they get the sort of brief of evidence. We're going to have to wait for that. Yeah, I'll take you to the story here.
Shock after a shooting at a Seattle food festival left 3 people dead and at least 4 others injured. A 15-year-old suspect is in custody, and court documents show there are 2 other suspects. ABC's Alex Stone has the latest from Seattle.
Gunfire at a busy street festival in Seattle Sunday, causing a frightening scene near the iconic Space Needle, killing 3 people, according to investigators. Police say those who died ranged in age from 19 to 56 years old.
We believe that 2 people exchanged gunfire outside the Seattle Center Armory. 7 victims were caught in the crossfire, with a possible 8th.
A 15-year-old suspect is in custody.
The Seattle Police Department detained a 15-year-old juvenile in connection with the shooting.
Police are searching for a second suspected shooter.
We're trying to identify who that person is. Our officers need your help. If someone saw something, or perhaps if someone has some video.
Law enforcement sources tell ABC News investigators preliminarily believe it was gang-related. First responders rushing into the festival attempted to revive 2 of the people who were shot, but both of those victims ultimately declared dead on scene. Kai Chen, a Marine Corps veteran, was selling goods at the festival when he heard the shots, and he used his training to help others to safety.
Heard sounds like fireworks, but it wasn't. So everybody started running. Basically, I was close to the door, so we were just, getting everybody in as much as, as quickly as possible.
Investigators say it was not an act of terrorism.
And now police are searching for that second shooter who they're looking for right now. The police chief here is saying the city better needs to address groups of teenagers involved in violence. Alex Stone, ABC News, Seattle.
There you go.
Pacific Palisades family.
We'll have to wait till tomorrow, the day after, to find out will they continue with the charges, or will any of those charges be upgraded to something like multiple counts of murder? Will they be able to figure out if this 15-year-old was one of the people who fired those the shots that actually killed people? Or what kind of charge would they be dealt with? Maybe something like manslaughter if they weren't the direct shooter but were involved in the shooting itself. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. And yeah, we'll see. So that is the update for that. I am still very disappointed about it just happening at all. The fact that these people couldn't just go have fun, it breaks my heart that every time we have something, it's supposed to be like for everyone, someone's got to be a freaking dumbass and go take a firearm. And I see someone who's a part of the rival cross-code gangland war. I'm the blue color and you're the orange or the red or the purple. And, that means we have to fight and shoot people and stuff. Like, shut up. Shut up. Get out of the community. Get out. Everyone's sick of it. Go away. No one cares. It's so annoying. It really is. It's like, your petty squabbles over nothing. Not like if it just affected you guys, no one would care. But the fact that you harm innocent people, now we care. Like, now it's a problem. You want to shoot each other, go for it. You want to shoot other people, that's when the line is crossed. And that is unfortunately what happened here. Yeah, a lot of things coming out from families saying that these people that were killed, the 56-year-old woman and the 44-year-old man, described as lovely family people, and their families are in shock tonight that they're missing their loved one, all because they decided to go to a communal event in town. I think that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. All right, I have one other case that I wanted to show you. There is by the way, I've not been following the trial. Lindsay Clancy, I've not really been following it that much. I had so many emails from people saying if I was going to do anything on it. I'm not going to do anything on it. I'm going to leave it alone. It's not that I don't want to. It's just I don't know what can be gained from covering it, really. It's a very sad case, really sad. So if you haven't seen it, she's accused of killing her 3 children. Here's a photo of them. There's her children. She's accused of killing them with exercise bands in her home. She's then alleged to have tried to do it to herself and then thrown herself off the roof and paralyzed herself in the process. Now she's in court saying that she basically had postpartum psychosis, and that is what drove her decision to do this, and that she should be found not guilty of murder, and that she should be found not guilty by the way of insanity. We'll see. The one thing I've heard is that she sent her husband out to go get food. Now, she said to him later on, apparently, I didn't do that so I'd have an opportunity. But come on. I mean, the husband seems to be very gullible. he's also taking the stand in her defense, saying that these psychiatrists and other medical people doped up his wife to the point where she became even deeper into psychosis, and the medication that she had was not helping, and it basically drove her further into this madness that made her do what she is alleged to have done. Now, they have dubbed this trial the America's saddest trial, and I agree. It is. It's very sad. The fact that if it is proven that she had postpartum psychosis and this is the direct result of it, that's awful. The fact that no one really helped her is another problem. But then you go, well, what went wrong? Now, the evidence I saw is that she did have medical help. She did have a support network, including classes and things like that for mums who are struggling, but it seems to be that it just wasn't enough. It is very odd for a husband, though, to testify in the defense for a wife who has done something like this. Normally, they will not. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go with her. I don't know whether to fully believe her either. It's very difficult. There's a photo of her in the courtroom. So I've only been keeping very sort of an arm's length from it and just checking up on it each day. So you guys will have to tell me what you think. Woman of Steel said she planned it. I mean, I see why you would think that. Gail said, I actually believe her so far. Kathy said, my sickness is real. That's a weird thing to say when we're talking about this. Jules said they did dope her up for sure. Her defense opening was really good. Yeah, doctors prescribed the wrong drug and too many mixed drugs. You know, we have heard that some of these drugs can have this type of side effect, and it is warned on a lot of drugs that some of them can give you this type of ideation, and you can become sort of S word, but also S word with other people, like with children, if it's not handled correctly. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it gives her case a lot of credence. The fact that the husband is willing to testify for her. I mean, he lost 3 of his children and he lost his wife, basically, all in one foul swoop. He has every right to be extremely angry with her, and he just doesn't seem to be. He seems to be on her side. He seems to be very supportive of her, even though what she's done. So, geez, they showed the knife in court today. Far out. There was apparently a photo of the knife. Not that she used on the children. I think she used it on herself. But there's a photo pixelated of the knife. And they're saying here's some of the medication she's alleged to have been prescribed. Now that's a lot of bottles. That's a lot of bottles of different meds. So I read it. What did I read incorrectly? What you said? What did you say? Oh, I thought you said your sickness was real. I was like, come on, Kathy, careful. Your daughter experienced PPD. We had to watch the baby a lot. Yeah, I mean, we've dealt with it on the channel a lot where women have had this. I mean, I don't doubt that it's a real thing and that there are women out there that have struggled to the point where they see no way out and it warps their thinking so much that they do something horrible like this. Prosecutors brought up a couple of good points, though, that she seemed to be somewhat lucid to the point where she could do things like, if you believe their side of it, that she sent the husband out. Like, that's pretty premeditated to get him out the house. She says it's a coincidence, but I mean, it depends which side of the jury, which side of the bar table you believe. I don't have an opinion. I really don't. I haven't watched enough of it to know, but I've seen the basic outline for it. It's sad. Either way, it's very sad. 3 children lost their lives, and we don't fully understand why this mom, who seemed very happy with her family, like, look at the photos. There's her and her children. She seemed quite content, and somehow she's gone off the deep end. I mean, very sad. Hold on. Maybe we can get an update. There was one that they got shown. I wonder if we have it. So they showed her in the hospital bed when she first went to the hospital to demonstrate how severe her injuries were, but I don't know if they gave it out. I'm not sure if they did. I'm going to say they did not. Actually, I'm going to take you. Okay. Hold on, guys. I want to take you out to CBS in the area, CBS in Boston, very quickly. Hold on. Yeah, I want to talk about the husband testifying.
For the kid's safety at that time?
No, I wasn't.
And why not?
Because she wasn't showing any intention of harming the kids.
A heartbroken father describing his former wife's descent into depression in the weeks and days before she killed their 3 children.
The victims, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and their baby brother, Callan, who was just 8 months old. Their mother, Lindsay Clancy, wiped away tears during this first day of testimony in her triple murder trial. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. Clancy's lawyers say she suffered from postpartum psychosis. As Tammy Mutasa shows us, Clancy's mental state is at the core of this case.
Patrick Clancy was the first witness to take the stand, giving emotional testimony about his then wife's mental health struggles. Legal experts say he's a key witness to both sides, but for different reasons.
Cora was into princesses. And she had a lot of friends using firefighters and trucks. He was just a happy baby.
Fighting back tears, Patrick Clancy recounting memories of his 3 young children, 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan, the victims of brutal murders, prosecutors say, at the hands of their mother, Lindsay Clancy, in January 2023.
Did she tell you she was having suicidal thoughts?
No.
Did she tell you she was having thoughts of harming the kids?
No.
Did she ask for help or anything that caused concern?
No, she was having one of her best days.
Before that fateful day, Patrick walked prosecutors through Lindsay's mental health struggles, telling the jury she was seeing several psychiatrists, prescribed antidepressants, had suicidal thoughts, and spent several days at McLean Psychiatric Hospital just 19 days before the deaths. The prosecutor.
One of the other things they said is that she reached out in the days before she did this to multiple people for help, like different professionals. I mean, it seems like a woman who at least tried to get help. I don't think it was like a fake reaching out for help. It's hard. It's like, where does the criminality lie? The case here isn't like whether she killed the children or not. It's where does the culpability lie? And these cases are always the hardest because we have no real way of seeing into someone's mind at the time when they did the crime. And for a jury, these are really difficult. Like, they already lost a bunch of jury members. I think multiple jury members basically put up their hand and said, I can't do this. I can't witness those autopsy photos of the children. And some of the other ones were like, I can't be impartial. I've got young kids. I would convict her. Like, they've had a lot of problems trying to get jury members, to the point where I think they're keeping like 4 extras because they're worried that they won't get through the trial with the original 12. It's very interesting. I've never seen a case that has done that. Kathy said she wasn't. No, yeah, I wouldn't think so. Not her best day, no. So it's going to be interesting how this one plays out in the court. Either way, it's sad, right? She's either convicted and goes to jail for the rest of her life as a, what would she be considered, like a quadriplegic or no, that's 4, like below the waist, someone who's paralyzed. You put this woman in jail for the rest of her life. They're saying here she fractured her neck, exploded her thoracic spine, shattered her cervical spine, first disc, and broke every rib. So she basically annihilated her torso and back structure in that fall. And they're saying that she flung herself out of the window, striking her head on the ground. The prosecution says that this was a fake attempt, and the only reason it was so severe is because she didn't take into account that the ground outside was frozen, and that falling out of a window onto frozen ground is a lot harder than falling onto like summertime grass and ground. It's not as hard. So they're saying if this happened in the summer and the ground was normal, she most likely would not have walked away with the injuries that she has today. Again, you're going to have to find out who you think and what side of the bar table that you associate with here, whether it's the prosecution case or whether it's the defense, and you believe that this woman was literally at the end of her rope and that she had tried everything to get help. It'll depend. I don't know what you guys think the jury might do, but so far, I do feel sorry for her in a way. Any woman you load up with 3 children and they're all under, what was it, like 7? I mean, that's hard on anyone, but I'm not excusing the crime she's done, but I can imagine her life was very difficult being a stay-at-home mom, multiple kids that are not in school as of yet or just going to school. It must be very difficult. And I mean, there's mums all over the country that do it. I mean, it's not a get out of jail free card. I'm just saying that, it must have been hard. I don't know. I don't know how the jury's going to find this one. I have a funny feeling most likely what'll happen is I think they're going to find with the defense, because I think the jury's going to see that even if they find her not guilty by way of insanity, she's still going to be put into a institution possibly for the next 20 years of her life. Like, it could be even longer. There's no telling how long it might take for them to try and fix her. It might be never. So I wonder if the jury will see that as still punishing her, but not sending her to jail for the rest of her life. And I wonder if they'll find that option as the middle ground here. I'm just trying to like think of how the jury might do it. But yeah, I think that's how they might view it, is that you're still punishing this woman. You're taking away her freedom for, like I said, it could be between 10, 20, 30 years. It doesn't let her off the hook, but it gets her the help she needs. And I wonder if that's, I think that's the way it might go. Yeah, it's hard. Kathy said, my first 2 kids are 14 months apart. It's hard. Yeah, and she had 3, so it wouldn't have been easy. Sweet Never said, I wonder if she was a perfectionist. You might be right. You might be right. Some people are, they let perfection get in the way of doing a decent enough job. And I wonder if sometimes that leads to them and their mental health being more negative because they feel like they can never live up to their own ideals. And I can understand how that feels. Yeah, I just want to check into our court case in Victoria. Did they get a decision? Still no update. We're at 4 o'clock. This must be a very hotly contested court hearing. I've been in some of these media court hearings where media are arguing over suppression orders and things like that. I did some with, I guess it's okay to tell you now. I was in some for Aaron Patterson. So I was in some for different portions of Aaron Patterson's trial. And yeah, like I said, normally there's one lawyer and they're representing all the media. So every media is sort of hired the lawyer on a pool basis, and they just sort of pay the costs split between everyone, and they just have one person representing all the media. Normally these are very quick, like 15, 20 minutes. They sort of argue their point. The judge says, why do you think we have to give you, why should we take away the suppression order? They say, hey, it's in the public interest. People need to know who this guy is. He's now been convicted of the crime. The people of Victoria deserve to know, and so on and so on. And then the defense will say, hey, you ID our client, and you might be IDing the victim. They worked very closely. She was an assistant to him. You might give people enough information to track down the victim. And so they'll fight that out. But the fact that we're at 4 o'clock, they've been in court since 3:15, as far as I know. It's 45 minutes so far. That is a long media hearing. They're normally a little quicker than that. So thank you, my friend. Hey, thank you. You are a very great supporter. I appreciate it. Sean said, hit the like button. It helps the channel. It does. It does. Thank you, buddy. Yes, well, we got one coming up. We're heading out to Ballarat for the Samantha Murphy missing person trial in about a month. So you'll get some more on this channel from me at the courthouse in a month's time. So, Content Angel said Aussie law allows the perp to be private. No. You can get a suppression order, but you need some sort of reason why you need it. A lot of the time in Victoria, the way they do it is they get a psychiatrist to write a report for the court saying, if my identity were to get out about these proceedings, it would negatively affect my mental health to the point where I might do X, Y, and Z. And then they'll present that to the court and try get a suppression order. So that's how they do it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jules, thank you, my friend. Thank you. She says, I agree. Yes. Yeah, I know that wouldn't fly there, but here in Victoria, it is a thing. It is a thing. A lot of people are not happy about it, but it is a thing that they do. I'm just trying to see if there is a... No. It looks like we're not going to get a... Maybe they're going to also go back tomorrow and hear more about it. So far, no update. Strange. Odd. Odd that we don't have an update. Okay, let's go back to this particular case. Look, I wasn't going to do anything on it, but everyone seems to have a different opinion on this woman. I mean, yeah, let's listen to the last little bit.
Prosecutors argue Lindsay wasn't telling her husband everything, like not taking all her medication and manipulating doctors.
The defendant made a calculated decision. This was a woman who no longer liked the life she thought she wanted.
Clancy crying several times in court, her attorney pushing back that this tragic case is about women's health in postpartum psychosis.
She didn't want to get rid of her kids because of her selfish life, as the government indicates. She loved those children right up to the time of their death.
WBZ legal analyst Jennifer Roman weighing in on how Patrick's testimony may help or hurt both the prosecution and defense.
Patrick Hensley is definitely empathetic and sympathetic to Lindsay Clancy. And he is a key witness for both sides because he was her husband living there day in and day out with her. And he did give some compelling testimony today about how she was struggling. I think at the end of the day, it's what the prosecution can do with those other facts that he was able to lay out today.
Yeah, I agree with them saying that like he is a very valuable person to have testify, whether it's in the prosecution or the defense. Either way, it opens up a lot of doors for both sides to then go forward and then go further into those details. Um, I don't know. Like, I still think that that's probably how they're going to find it. I think it's very hard to convict her. If this was someone who had snuck away and not done anything, had no medication, had nothing, had not reached out for help and just killed these children out of nowhere, I think you'd be more likely to convict her. But I think when you hear the story of this woman who was over medicated, was speaking to professionals, had support groups, and tried to do X, Y, and Z, I think it's hard to convict her for a premeditated crime, but that's just my opinion. I think the jury will see it differently. I have one more update for you. Last year, I brought you a crazy story out of Florida about a woman called Sonia Exelby. Now, do you remember this lady? I don't know if you guys remember her story. She seemed like a lovely girl, and her tragic ending is one of the most crazy stories I think we've ever read on this channel. And I know I say that a lot, but her story is, it almost seems like a movie or something from Netflix. Now, she flew all the way from the UK to Florida to meet up with a guy. His name is Dwayne Hall. Now, here's a photo of Dwayne Hall. And what did she want Dwayne Hall to do for her? She wanted Dwayne Hall to torture her and kill her. It is a really sad story because I feel like there were so many people that wanted to help her, and somehow she got away from them. And before they could help, she was already in Florida. Now, he's accused of basically torturing her for a number of days before finally using a knife and stabbing her to death and killing her. But some of the details that we heard here is that he also sexually abused her during her time in captivity with him, something that she did not really want. And she voiced this displeasure to a friend on a mobile phone, saying that she didn't know a way to get out, that she was in the situation now by her own means, but didn't know how to get out because this guy had a gun and was threatening to shoot her if she left the property. Now, Dwayne Hall also claims that Miss Exelby also asked for rough sex, could be heard asking her why she is in the US, to which she replied through tears, "Because I'm an awful person. I've crushed everyone who's ever loved me." Miss Exelby then went into detail on why she is an awful person before Hall asked her how she wanted to die and to describe it. Initially, Miss Exelby refused to answer the question, but eventually said she wanted to be stabbed. Hall then said, "This is how you wanted to die, right?" When asked if she was being forced to do anything against her will, she shook her head before Hall asked her if she was happy and getting what she wants, and she nodded. Miss Exelby's last moments were recorded in a 13-page indictment filed by the Florida PD investigating her murder. They're saying that she had well-documented mental health issues and flew out to Florida on October 10 and had a return date booked for 3 days later on October 13. Doesn't sound like someone who's not expecting to come back. It's her final moments are awful. They say evidence found on her computer indicated that she was S-word and traveling to the US to be possibly SA'd, tortured, and murdered by unknown individuals, which is basically what ended up happening to her. But the one thing about Dwayne you need to know is, while he had her in an Airbnb and was doing all these things to her, Dwayne had a family. He had a wife, a kid, a home life, and instead he had taken this young woman that flew all the way from the UK, holed her up in an Airbnb, and committed these crimes that are almost unspeakable. Just terrible. This poor girl should have been able to get home to her family. This guy is a monster. Now, they are saying here that they have finally laid her to rest. Now, her body has finally made it back to the UK, and they have been able to lay her to rest, which I think it should have happened ages ago. They're saying here, family of British woman who flew to the US to be murdered, pay tribute to her and call her the most gentlest soul. And yeah, her death is, I mean, that guy really could have been a serial killer. He is a nasty individual. The fact that he would let this woman come all the way from the UK and then hurt her in those ways, it's almost something that you think is from a Netflix film or something. I'm just trying to see if I can find some things from it. Hold on. So the Telegraph in the UK started a new investigation into this. I'm not sure why, but they've got a series called Murder Unpacked. But she sent these messages to a friend, and she said that she was trying to talk to this friend, saying that Dwayne was in the shower. She says, I'm locked in the house and there's no signal in the middle of nowhere. And she was appealing for this friend to come and try and save her, but she couldn't really tell him where she was, where to go and help her. And unfortunately, by the time everyone sort of figured it out, she had already been killed. It's awful. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's more about Dwayne in the last little bit. Doesn't seem so. I'm not sure what's going on with Dwayne's case in the USA right now, but he's probably gonna stand trial for homicide. They're saying here. So Dwayne Hall was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. They ended up finding a lot of this video evidence of what happened to her on his person. They found it on his phone, on his laptop, and other devices. They're saying here that he's been charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, credit card fraud, and unlawful use of a communication device. He's pleaded not guilty and remains behind bars ahead of his trial. I just want to see when they might have booked his trial. So oh my God, it's going to be a busy last bit of the year. Dwayne Hall's criminal trial is scheduled to begin 16th of November this year. How many trials are we going to have in the last bit of the year? Now we've got this one too. So we've got this one. We've got the Martha one. We've got that other one we were talking about. We've got Samantha Murphy. We've got Aaron Patterson. Geez, how are we going to be so busy? Let's see. The state of Florida is not seeking the death penalty for him. Interesting. This condition was agreed upon in a treaty with the United Kingdom to allow the transfer of critical digital evidence from British authorities. How is it that this guy, who is not a British citizen, was able to avoid the death penalty because the USA needed digital evidence from the UK? How does that work? this guy is not a UK citizen. I mean, I could see it if the perpetrator was British and was in America. I could see that they would not allow the death penalty in exchange for evidence, but the victim is a UK citizen. What do they care if the perpetrator is killed? Very strange. I find that very odd that they would care that this guy is death penalty or not. Let's see. Apparently it's got something to do with Amnesty International. They have a thing about the state of Florida and their death penalties, apparently. They're saying here prosecutors plan to present digital and physical forensics, including Discord messages and text messages, which they state explicitly contradict Hall's claim that the fatal violence was consensual. Yeah, the fact this girl was crying out to friends saying that she wanted to leave but didn't know how, saying that she wanted to leave, but Dwayne was saying that she would have to kill him in order to be able to leave. That's what he told her. She would have to take his gun and shoot him in the head to be able to leave their arrangement, which is ridiculous. Let me see if I can find anything else about Mr. Dwayne Hall. Hold on. Yeah, so Dwayne Hall is a father of two, had a wife and everything. Like, what an absolute beep, 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 beep. So many beeps, too many beeps, all the beeps. Yeah, I want to take you out to Fox 35 back when he was arrested.
I have a story we want to bring you out of Central Florida, and that is some new details of a murder case out of Marion County. Dwayne Hall, making his first appearance in court today, denied bond during that court appearance, but court documents providing some interesting details about this case and allegations against this man accused of killing a woman from the United Kingdom. I want to bring in Fox 35's Marie Edinger, who joins us live now via Zoom. And Marie, I know you've been looking into this case today. What do we know about the allegations and the claims against Dwayne Hall?
Sure. So Dwayne Hall had been living in Ocala for about 3 years. Before that, he'd spent 3 years in Tallahassee and lived in Ohio prior to that. He was the owner and single employee or sole employee of his roadside assistance business called Silver Wolf Roadside Assistance. He was arrested originally last month for fraud, for using the credit card or multiple credit cards of a woman who had been reported missing and then later found dead. She was.
By the way, we covered the indictment before they did. I'm not in a competition with Grizzly. I'm just saying that we did. I don't know if you were around at the time, Missy, but yeah, I think we were able to get the court documents pretty quickly, and we covered it at the time. I haven't done an update since then, but maybe they have. But we've been waiting for it to go to trial. I think it's going to be a slam dunk case for him. How do you get out of this? How do you provide a defense? Even under US law, there is nothing under US law that says if the person tells you that you can commit this act, that is okay. You are still committing a murder. It doesn't matter. Under the rule of the law, even in Florida, there is no such thing as a mutual obligation S word. Like, there's no such thing. So he can say all he wants that this was some sort of mutual arrangement. It doesn't deny the fact that he killed her. So I think he's just barking up the wrong tree here. This was a very, very ill woman. Sonia Exelby was a very mentally unwell lady who, in my opinion, was taken advantage of by this guy. He took advantage of her to use her for his own sexual gratification, and then used her further for his own sick, gruesome, murdering her, basically. He did it to fuel his own fantasy of taking a woman's life. And I think he's just tried to dress that up as, oh, she wanted it, and this is how she told me. If you have to force someone with a weapon or with violence to be able to tell you that, oh, I want this, this is what I want you to F me hard and all this stuff, that's not voluntary. Voluntary would be off her own admission, without her crying, without her saying all this stuff, without her being threatened. But that's not what happened in those videos. In those videos, she is being threatened. He's already beat her senseless multiple times, to the point where she was telling her friend in those messages when she was trying to reach out for help, she was saying that she was so sore that she couldn't even move, that he had hurt her so much that she was like in constant pain to the point where she couldn't even walk. And I mean, that's not what she signed up for. She signed up, I think, for someone to basically take her out to the bush and put a 22 in her head, but he took advantage of her and used her for his own gratification and just dominated and annihilated her in her final hours before he finally decided to take that knife and put her out of her misery. They're saying here, Exelby was described as sitting on a chair looking disheveled with multiple bruises across her face, neck, and breasts after being tortured by Hall, who told police he used the name Alpha Sadist on fetish websites. Hall, who claimed Miss Exelby had also asked for the rough sex, could be heard asking her again why she was in the US, and she only answered through tears. But when you look at these posts that her family put up, they wanted her home and they loved her. And you see, like, they were so concerned for her. They were asking around the world, they were getting people online involved, and they were just too late. They were too late. By the time they figured it out, she was already dead, unfortunately. So, November, we got another trial. God, where were all the trials in the first half of the year? Where are all the trials why did we get none between January and July? Why are they all in the second half of the year? I'd love to know. Didn't he? Yeah, he also used her credit card, used it through his like tow truck business, and basically that's where the fraud charges, the credit card fraud, come in. He basically used her credit cards, and we also heard stories about when he owned that roadside assistance company, there were other women who were on their own who basically said that he was creepy and that he made them feel unsafe when he came to them on the side of the road. There were multiple other women who came out and said that they had met him through his company and that he was a creep and made them feel unsafe. So I think he gave off that sort of presence. Hey Joe, what's up, brother? Thank you, my friend. Thank you for all the jewels, whatever they are. That's how they got him. Yeah, I mean, he's very dumb. He videoed half of it. Like the majority of her torturing and that, it's on video. They have it. They have her on video looking beat up and tortured, basically. Yeah, he's not a very clever guy. I don't think I think what he thought is that video would get him out of jail. But what he doesn't understand is that's not how it works. You can't sign a contract like this to take someone's life. There's no law that falls under where they're like, oh, you have a contract? Wow, let him out of jail. Hey, this guy has a contract with the victim who said they could kill them. It doesn't work that way. There is no law that you can claim that you're some sort of white knight and you basically committed your own assisted S word. You know, you're not a medical professional. You're not providing some sort of end of life care. That's not how this works. So, yeah, he's a very dumb guy. And it's a shame that he won't fry for the crime that he committed. It's a real shame. It's a real shame that the UK had to stick their beak into it and decide, hey, we'll give you the evidence as long as you don't commit him to death. Freaking UK, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just stay out of it. Yeah, so anyway, I think they've finally left her to rest, which is great. Hopefully she has found peace now in the afterlife. They're saying here that when they found her body in Woodland at Marion Oaks, Hall was being questioned at the time. The way they identified her body, and the only way they were able to at the time, was via fingerprints. They're saying here they found a shovel at Dwayne's home that had soil on it, which matched the burial site. Congratulations. You didn't even wash the shovel, you lazy fuck. Blood was also found on the handle. Again, congratulations, you dumbass. And it was later confirmed to be a positive match for Miss Exelby, and an autopsy on her performed a week later showed she had been stabbed 4 times. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in November. I hopefully will be able to cover that trial for you, and let's see if we can. Let's see what other details we hear about Mr. Dwayne at his trial in November. The Airbnb. He basically kept her there like a pet while his wife and child were at another home. Here's the old converted trailer, and that's where he kept her while he basically destroyed her. Gayla said it's okay, he will make new friends in prison. Maybe. Kathy said the purpose of YouTube, Jules is an act as I know. I haven't seen how they work as such yet. Like if we have these, like these Juul things, but why do we have these then? And then why do we have these? Like, isn't this just the same thing as that? Like I don't understand why you got 2 different things. Are they just like doing the super sticker? Like I don't really get it. Is it more like a microtransaction? I appreciate them. I'm just not sure what YouTube is aiming at. To be like TikTok, It's another way for YouTube to get our money. Damn them. Damn them to hell. Hey, I appreciate it though. You guys have been so sweet. We've had heaps of them. I hope the little photos have been coming up when you've been doing it. You guys have been doing a whole heap of them. So I appreciate it. You guys are very kind. Lisa gifted a membership too. That is very, very generous. Look at all these things, Jules. You guys are very kind. We've had 11 of them tonight. They are cute. Well, as long as they're cute, you guys can keep doing it. All right. I'm going to check one more time to see if we got an update out of the Victorian County Court before I let you guys go tonight. Did we get an update? No update. Wow, the court's almost over for the day. They must be arguing like crazy. They've been in court for over an hour so far. Unless they lost they may have lost. The media may have lost in their attempt to overturn the suppression order. They may have lost because I would be expecting an update by now. I'm just trying to see if I can. It's looking like, maybe they lost in their bid to overturn it because I would have expected an update by now. Let me check one other place. Let's see. The man who cannot be identified or named due to a suppression order preventing his identity from being released Yeah, so it sounds like no update as of yet. Maybe by tomorrow when I see you, maybe we'll get an update, but they were supposed to be um they were supposed to be in court at 3 p.m. For an argument to try and figure out if they would get away with it. Thank you. I appreciate it, you guys. You guys are very kind. Unk alert. I am an unk. What's unk? The Tar Heels. UNC? Yeah, I'm a USC. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully by tomorrow when I see you guys, I'll have a clearer idea what's going on with this high-profile Melbourne man who's been found guilty today of that R word. There you go. That's the photo they're using. Some random question mark guy. Yeah, I'll have to tell you tomorrow. Yeah, as soon as I close the stream, there'll be an update. They're just waiting for me to get off the air. They're like, wait till that ping guy gets off the air, then give the update so he can't tell his viewers. That happens like more than you will ever know. All right, I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.